Greetings and namaste. I'm at the house that I grew up in East Boulder County in Colorado. And it used to be one of those first subdivisions carved out of a cornfield in the 70s. And of course, all around us no longer cornfields but suburbistan. So I've been cleaning out that storage shed, and I think about what stuff you have to clean out from your childhood stories. What stories do we have about our lives? And as a Storytime yoga teacher, you look at your own mythic yoga, your story, and observe it. And there's lots of good family stories, important stories to carry on and teach your kids, to that oral tradition and a sense of roots and connection and history. Something we need to really read up on. Let's talk about history. It means story, after all. L'histoire, la historia. So this is the house I grew up in. And one of those things like, why do you want to leave? So let's go in, and I thought you could meet my father, because there's a very important story we need to talk about. Well, I want to hear, and that's the horrible effects of war on children, and why you must work for peace and to stop war at every cost. Wherever you are, put down your weapon. Wherever you are, speak for peace in the name of children. Okay, so anyways, this is where I grew, my father's house now. So my father, you'll meet Dad. Oh, here's the kitchen. He was born in Indonesia. It was on a beautiful incense burner. But, like I said, submitted this for the Hoarder show. And I wanted to donate. This is basically how I grew up. So we have a lot of things going on. The mind. Vata, creative, highly creative. We hang out there in that magical zone. We're very in touch with the unconscious. And, because we've been driven inward due to trauma or childhood stuff. So, anyways, let's venture. Dad? Dad! Oh, okay. But let's take a moment to talk about war. I had a dream during the Clinton era, before my husband died. That's my greatest Freudian slip, by the way. Every time. Before my husband died, I had a very vivid dream in which I flew from Colorado, and I had my hand and I pointed down. I came down into Washington and I said, there will be no more war. And I do say to you that you can use your voice to say there will be no more war, because we need these funds for our children. It's for the sake of children, in the name of children, and because we know the horrible scars that war gives children, leaves on children. And that's why you're going to talk to my father, who is a child survivor of a concentration camp, a Japanese concentration camp on Java, which used to be a Dutch colony. And he was born on Jombang, Java in 1931, when it was still a Dutch colony. War comes along, Japanese invade and put all the Dutch in concentration camps. And he was a child survivor of the concentration camp from age 9 through 12, and before he went back to the Netherlands, where I was just at, by the way, in Amsterdam, connecting with my roots. So with those traumas of war, the psychological damage is what rips apart the fabric of our society. We want to support life. If you want to be pro-life, you're going to be pro-child. The child right here, right now, the environment, raising children, providing them education, and providing them a safe environment. In fact, that is the key, a safe and nurturing environment. And we need the funds to do it, for libraries, for public education, for all children to be educated, for all children to have health. That's what we work for. Anyways, but we teach children's yoga too. So for our family stories. Here's a family story. I was high school, Centaurus High School, class of 1984. But my 10th grade year, I was invited to the homecoming. And Steve, he was the tall, blonde 11th grader. He wanted to date me. And of course, I was so nervous. And I had to clean up this house, of course. What would he think? So I did. He came, had to come over to meet my mother and my father. And I would have had to, usually I run out the door so nobody would come and see our house. I was very ashamed of it. And everybody else in Boulder, they're rich. And but he came up and pinned the corset on me, and we went out, and we didn't go to the dance. He got a little fresh with me and drove me home. Oh, we had a nice dinner. He did give me a nice dinner, but the next day he dumped me. So anyways, those stories that that's just youth. Okay, here comes my dad. Dad! Hi, Pop. This is my daddy.
How are you?
This is Albert Straub, my dear dad. And here's my kitty cat he's been watching. Oh, kitty cat ran away.
Yeah, she went under the bed.
We did have Sergeant Pepe join us. Anyways, Dad, do you think war is horrible on children?
Absolutely. It's insane. Totally insane. And it's always, war has been made by people that like to make a lot of money. That's behind the scenes. And they carefully start the wars because then they have the industry going for tanks and everything else.
Body scanners at the airport.
And body scanners at the airport. Oh yes, when you see those TVs on the airport, if you look at them, they look at you. There are.
Yeah.
It's
a war profiteer. You're making money on our taxes. That should be going to education, and it damages.
Exactly.
What you had migraine headaches and post-traumatic stress, and your father died in a Japanese POW camp, a Mitsubishi tin mine outside of Tokyo.
Yeah.
Is that right?
And that was with they didn't give him food, and he was malnourished, and they had to work in the mines, at the Mitsubishi mines, and they had to work many hours, and he died of starvation and too much work.
And how old were you when you last saw your father before he had to go off to war?
I was about 9, I think, yeah. Because in the concentration camp I became 9 in the beginning. So that time period, and they marched him by us, and he took his cap off because he had pure white hair like I have, and so we recognized him, and so he walked by, and that's the last time I saw him, and last time anybody saw him in the family, and he died over there, and I believe it was 1943 that he died.
The war kills, it shatters families and destroys, to lose a father, and our children are affected deeply by our parents, our relationship, and with each other, and that trauma, the devastation.
I was in a concentration camp because when I became 10, they took the boys away from their family, and we were in a separate concentration camp where they had old men that couldn't fight. They were too old, and they were dying all the time, and they put us in our own barracks, and I think we had about 800 of his kids of the young men, young boys over there, and I was one of them. So, and that was a nightmare.
Yeah, so there's torture, I mean, you know, things aren't very different, aren't there? Teenagers and young kids in Guantanamo Bay, don't you think? The U.S.
Oh yeah,
you know,
yeah, absolutely.
You know, we still torture and kill, and there's still wars going on, and it's damaging to children. We have to stop war. How do should we all be saying stop war right now and fund our libraries, our healthcare, and our education, and fund elderly to be taken care of, and disabled and children? Speaking for children, you know, there was an article. They said that the Democrats and the Republicans, they don't spend money on, you know, they don't care about those votes from the children and disabled because they, you know, they don't vote or they can't get in there to vote, and so they don't bother, and that's not humane.
Yeah,
we have to live
well,
with.
Now there is a program going on the internet. They say don't vote anymore. Anybody should not vote for anything anymore, and that will just. They would fall apart because.
Wow. Well, yeah, in the Virgin Islands, you can't vote.
Yeah.
You can primary. Yeah, Obama showed up in Puerto Rico for an hour, got $1 million, and ditched everybody.
Yeah.
And we can't vote, but he wants our primary Hispanic vote, and that's the power of El Pueblo. The people can realize their power and don't vote, and Puerto Rico and Virgin Islands can be independent. Yeah. Well, Dad, we have to go, but I love you, and let's all stop war.
Thank you.
Children of the war. Here's my Dad. I need some light.
Okay.
A little bit. No, not really. Dark. All right.
Yeah.
Well, anyways, that was our little.
Did I come out?
I hope. Oh, here, come over here. Here we go. We're in a little bit of the.
Oh, yeah, now I can see it. Oh,
well, tell cool. Family stories, talk to the elderly, and take care of the elderly. They are the wisdom keepers, and they deserve respect because that is you. You know, you are. Right? And
thank
say
you.
So.
Yeah.
Write your congressman, get busy.
And we have
children are counting on you, and the elderly, and everybody, your whole life.
And we have the memory, the older people have the memory of the wars. And
that's right, we were taught, never forget, we forgot.
Right.
Or no, somebody's forgetting.
Yeah, we don't forget, and
Okay, go see the Anne Frank house in Amsterdam. Yeah. Don't forget Anne Frank.
Yeah.
All right, don't forget children.
Yeah.
Ciao, namaste, have a magical day.